Management today on the show. PVC pipes maker reported a weak set of numbers for the quarter three. That's due to a year-on-year decline in pricing. However, on a sequential basis, there was an improvement. The company we're talking about is Finolex Industries. Mr. Ajit Venkataraman, the Chief Executive Officer of the company, joins us on the show. Hi, Mr. Venkataraman. Good morning and thanks so much for joining in. Well, I want to talk about PVC pricing, the spreads. But first up, let's focus on volumes. You had a very good volumes reported in quarter three. But how is the quarter four shaping up? That's normally the largest quarter. And on a year-on-year basis, in comparison to quarter four, FY22, do we expect some growth? The same quarter last year, you did around 79,000 tons. Go ahead, sir.
So good morning. Yeah, quarter three was absolutely a fantastic quarter for us in terms of volumes. We had probably the highest volume Q3 ever. And that is typically we have Q4 and Q1, as you rightly said, as the strong quarters for us. Based on the Q3 performance in FY23, I expect that the Q4 will be a little bit more muted because we have seen significant growth in volumes for the industry itself in Q3. So Q4 is going to be a little bit more muted than the previous year.
Than the previous year. So last year did around 79,000 tons. So you're saying it'll be a little lower in comparison to quarter four last year because of the blockbuster quarter three that you had?
About the same, but we will not be able to keep up with the Q3 performance. That's what I mean.
Right. No, that's par for the course. So, if I just plug in the numbers, at 9 months, you've done around 2.2 lakh tons. So you'll end the year at around 300,000 odd?
So we should be closing above the pre-COVID levels. We are looking at around 300,000.
Okay. Mr. Venkataraman, good morning. That is on the volumes. I wanted to understand a little bit about the margins as well. How long before the margins come back to the normalized levels of FY22? And can you tell us what exactly was the inventory loss that you incurred in this quarter gone by?
So FY22 was an anomaly. That's because of the PVC prices. And for the last couple of years, we have seen the PVC prices being very volatile. And we had the highest volume prices almost to the extent of $1,800 per metric ton in FY22. And that has come down significantly to the $900 levels this year. And we have seen the PVC prices stabilize from December onwards. So we expect that the prices will be stable going forward and the margins will be coming back to the pre-COVID levels.
Okay. So when you say pre-COVID levels, what are you looking at? I mean, the margin band has been quite large, between 20% all the way to 30% as well. What will the margins be on an average in FY24? And I didn't get the inventory loss that you saw in this quarter.
So most of the inventory loss, as the prices were dropping during the course of FY23, we held a lot of high value inventory while the prices were going down. And in this market, prices typically passed on to the market, whether it is rising or falling. So we did take a huge inventory loss in Q2. And till about middle of November, we did take a loss in Q3 as well. So if you actually see the EBITDA, we closed at around 55 crores this Q3, as against a loss of 47 crores in Q2 FY23, and this is against a profit of 69 crores in the pipes and fitting segment, which I'm talking about. So you see that we are coming back to the normal levels in terms of the pipe and fitting. The variation which you see is essentially due to the resin business. The resin business has a significant amount of movement. Against Q3 profitability of 178
crores. What about the margin band, Mr. Venkataraman? What could it be?
In terms of margin band, we typically see a normalized margins of about 10 rupees per metric ton. 10 rupees per kg in the PVC business, the pipes and fitting business, and that's what is normal margin.
Okay, got it. I mean, it's a commodity business, so you have to kind of live with it. Mr. Venkataraman, good morning. Good to have you with us here. Just a quick word on demand as you see it through calendar 2023, both on the agri side and non-agri side. It's also, a year littered with lots of state elections. I'm assuming that it does that. I don't know if that becomes a factor for your on the agri side. Then you've got elections next year. Just give us a sense.
So in terms of volumes, we have seen agri segment growing at the normal pace. And we expect that the plumbing and sanitation business is going to have a much accelerated growth. Overall, in the pipes and fitting business, we are seeing a CAGR of almost 15% over the past 5 years. And we expect that to grow in the same rate in the next 5 years as well. But we expect the plumbing and sanitation business to be at a much accelerated growth rate than the agri segment.
All right, Mr. Venkataraman, final question before we let you go. Actually, just got two questions. You gave us a per kg profitability, but I'm reading a brokerage report and they are saying that they're expecting Finolex Industries to do margins of around 15 to around 16% in the coming year. That's FY24, since we have stability on pricing now. Point number one. Point number two, the street is very excited. Are the Finolex promoters going to, call a truce? Is there some kind of, settlement that could come about? Because we have seen Finolex Cables as well as Finolex Industries, they'll be in focus on the back of that. So two-part question, go ahead.
So in terms of at the promoter level, the company is quite away from the dispute which is going on. The conversations are happening as we speak. And we don't get involved in that aspect of the business. The business, it runs independently of what's going on at the promoter level.
Okay, and what about the margins? You gave us a per kg margin, mid-teens. Is it gettable?
See, we are, mid-teens is possible, but that all depends upon the split between the agri and non-agri segment. Agri segment typically is at a lower margin between 8 and 10%, whereas the fitting and sanitation business is at the range of about 10 to 15%. It all depends upon the mix. If you look at Q3, majority of the demand for Finolex came from agri segment because of the spurt. Again, when the split moves towards plumbing and sanitation segment, the margins will move towards that. And our concerted effort is to focus on the plumbing and sanitation segment. We are already strong in the agri segment.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thanks a lot for joining in. We have plenty more questions for you, but I guess we'll leave that for another day. That's Finolex.